Okay, hey everybody out in YouTube and Facebook, how you doing? I hope you're having a great Sunday. Uh, just give me one moment. Okay, hey everybody out in YouTube and Facebook, how you doing? I hope you're having a great Sunday. Uh, Hey Facebook, everyone, how you doing? I hope everyone's having a good day. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We are going to be going to go ahead and test out this particular change cameras here. Right, we're going to this right here, which is the De La Rowney FW Ink. We're going to go ahead and test that out today and just see how I can go from light to dark and what kind of dilutions I will need. So that should be very interesting, a lot of fun. Ooh, look at the color there, not good. Okay, so let's go back here and feel free to leave any comments. Let me know that you see and hear everything correctly. That would be very cool. I know it's a Sunday evening. A lot of people are not online right now. I'm just going to very quickly set up on my tablet so at least I can see you guys. Okay, cool. See, two people are here right now. How's it going? And I'll just go to the comment section so I can see us. Very cool. So let's go ahead and see if we can I'm going to lower the volume because it'll drive me nuts. So, first thing is I'm going to take one of these cups. I have some water, and what we're going to do is we're going to dilute this. This is a new sketch pad that I bought. It's pretty cool. And I got it at AC Moore, and it's only for $5, but it's vellum, which I think is a nice, thick, smooth paper. And I think it's going to work really well with airbrush. Airbrush and ink, that's for sure. So let's go ahead, and I think what we're going to do is we're going to start with a ratio of 3 eyedroppers, 3 full eyedroppers of water, and 2 drops of the ink. And we're going to do that ratio. So I'm going to do, let's see, so we'll do 9. Put that over here. Let me just pour it in there, make life easier for me. But since I do have a tendency to spill, I'm going to put this cap back on. So we're looking at about 2 right now. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Do see a little piece of something that's going to clog my airbrush, so let me see if I can grab that. Little piece of dried ink that would come back to haunt us. Let me get this water out of the way. And then we have the ink. Shake well, of course. Make sure the cap is on and hold it, because I had too many times where it went all over the place. So that's something you definitely don't want to have happen. So since we are doing a 3 to 2, so 9, so 6. So let's go ahead and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That should be fine. Tighten it very well. Move it over here. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my clips, my side feed, my favorite airbrush right now. It always changes. So right now I'm streaming live on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So leave a message and I will definitely, and leave a comment. So we got YouTube and Facebook right now, just waiting for you guys. All right, so now we have, let's get to a different camera here. Okay, so let's move this camera over. So you see I have my airbrush right here. Since I'm going to be going pretty vertical, you have the ability to move that up. That's a really good equalizer. So let's go ahead and okay, this is a very, very diluted, but I do like the color. So you can see with this mixture of a 3 to 2 ratio of eyedroppers to drops of ink that we do have a really nice dilution. Hey Heath, how you doing? You know, this isn't the first time using FW, and but Higgins, the waterproof India ink, is perfect. But you have to have the Higgins brand, and as long as you don't go too dark, that as you do very lightly, then you erase as you go. So that should help. And I do have some really good tutorials on YouTube. And I'll send you the link so you can see my process. So looking at this, it's a nice light color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this light color because I'm doing a portrait right now of Emmy Rossum from the show Shameless. So this is going to be pretty good. So let me go ahead and park my airbrush. Now, and I'll show you guys. See right here, I have the drawing, and then here's a drawing, and here's the photocopy. And I like doing this method because I could draw while I'm watching TV, I'm out regardless, which is really cool. And then in the studio it's much better. I have my reference right here, so it's a great technique, and I really recommend working small. You're not married to it. If it doesn't come out that good, you can just go ahead and start another one. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Let me see what the, okay, so I can see right now I am I believe I am on, okay, on Facebook we have really nice color. And let me double check on YouTube real quick, guys. Let's see. So this is what it does. If I'm, hey Johnny, good to see you, man. Thanks for stopping by. And so I'm just going to YouTube real quick. I'm going to check my feed. It looks beautiful. Okay, so on YouTube, it's a little lighter. So it's a give and take here. So let's see. So let's go ahead and first thing I want to do is I definitely want to go ahead and lighten this up. And that's what you want to do, Heath, is that you want to make sure that your pencil lines aren't dark to begin with. And this way they're going to be a lot easy to erase. It's much easier to darken than to lighten in every aspect, I believe. So right now, with that mixture of 3 full eyedroppers of water and then just 2 drops of the De La Rowney brown ink is a really nice light color. So I did some tests, and we'll experiment together, you know. That's why it's not that important that this comes out perfect. Hey, it would be nice, right? But it's definitely not that important. So I'm doing a lot of live streams now because I want to perfect this media. I see a lot of people mess up, and I mess up a lot too, because I'm just not doing it enough. And the more you do it, the more you work out the bugs. And me being a one-man band, you know, I have to take control of everything. So definitely it's... And I'm going to mix paintbrush techniques with this. But as you can see, look how light I'm making those pencil lines, Heath. But this is FW by De La Rowney. I'm not sure what it's going to do. We're going to find out together. Okay. So I have my, and so let's get a test paper. We definitely don't want to test the first couple of sprays on our own artwork. We have a blowout or something. Let it be on the test paper. Now this is an acrylic ink, so I imagine we're going to have very different problems and different advantages than when working with the straight India ink. So let's just get into it here. Let's see where to start. So I think I'm going to have to stand. And we'll see how the erasing technique works. I'm a little paranoid, so that's why I'm going to erase a little bit, because I'm not sure how this particular brand is going to handle. Make sure when you spray you move, because if there's any problems, at least you're moving and it's going to be a nice blend. And if you don't move and you just sort of have a stationary spray, if there's a problem, it's going to compound it. So movement when airbrushing is so important. I'm not mixing any color with this. This is straight out of the bottle. And you can see I'm erasing as I go. Now don't worry if you don't have this kind of control yet. That's going to come in time. So just be patient with yourself. Let's see. So we have our Facebook chat here, and we have our YouTube chat right over here. We'll put YouTube chat over here in case someone wants to Say hello on YouTube. And always erase as you go. Now I'm super light right now. But at least you guys can see is the spirit of experimentation, of going outside the box. That's how you find your style. That's how you do things that are extraordinary. Not by doing what other artists have done, but do things differently. Go your own way. Try things that you haven't heard of before. We're going to do our first wave of erasing pretty soon. But nice and smooth. Look at this. So far, with the vellum and the dilution is really nice. Now this is really diluted, guys. Real heavy dilution. So it's really slow out there. I don't see too many people. If you're out there, just give me a quick hello. This way I know I'm reaching yous. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over the really dark area right now, and let's see what that does. We can always erase, but we're going to find out how much we can erase with this. See that? So interesting, this particular picture is very high key, meaning that there's more light than there is shadow. So that means a lot more subtlety with the airbrush. Remember, you want to paint in 3 dimensions. Closer, more detail, smaller stream of spray, further back, more loose, and more wider stream. So not just air pressure and how much you pull back, but also how close you are to the surface. You want to paint in 3 dimensions. It is exciting. I'm not sure what this is going to do, but it's pretty cool. And then we're going to, of course, come back with paintbrush techniques, which is going to be really cool. Okay, so let's go ahead and park the airbrush. Before we do that, make sure, okay, just give a little shot there. Oh, you know what? That could be true there. Definitely, Heath. So he says erasing acrylic paint off India ink is where the problem is. Right. So basically, how I work is that I do a detailed drawing like this, and I try to lighten the drawing as much as possible, Heath. At that point, once I do a very light ink underpainting, as I go, I erase it. So once the acrylic paint comes by, there's no more pencil lines to erase, because once you have acrylic, it's not erasing. It's sort of locked in there. And it definitely, the darker it is. However, right now we're going so light with this FW ink that I'm actually able to erase. I mean, not as well as the, you know what? Honestly, guys, this is a great experiment. So I am actually able, as long as I'm really thin, remember that now that's 3 eyedroppers of water, full eyedroppers of water, with 2 drops of the ink out of the bottle. Exactly. So once you come in with acrylic paint, there's no more erasing. That's it. Yeah, it just acts like a sealant, and there's nothing we can do. So you want to do all the erasing during the India ink process of the underpainting, and then you'll be fine. Now you see here, I'm actually going to go ahead and make sure that before I go much darker or any darker, I'm going to make sure all the pencil lines are gone. Or as many of the pencil lines as I can do away with without losing the hard work I did during the drawing process. Of course, if you're just, taking a photocopy and cutting it out, that's a different ball game. That's not what I want. I want my handwriting in this. So that's why sometimes I'll do a very crude projection, draw it out, and then go from there. See how I could set up the heavier sepia. Since I'm erasing as I go, little by little, I am actually exactly where I want to be. Plus, I can actually erase some of the ink that is heavier or outside of the drawing of the lips. So it's sort of a two-edged sword that's going to help you with this. So yeah, if you're doing this as an underpainting for a acrylic painting, it's a different ball game. And also, I'm going to send you some links too, Heath, is that when you're doing an underpainting, you want to make your underpainting about 2 values lighter than your finished painting, because when you go over it with the acrylic, with the airbrush or anything else, you're going to darken the value, because as you put paint layers on top, it'll get darker. So compensate for that. That's why you would definitely go a couple of values lighter. What I do is I take the photograph that I'm going to be using, and then I go into Photoshop or any Photoshop program, and then you just lighten the value. So this way everything's lighter. Okay, so far I'm really happy with the experiment. The experiment has yet to gone awry. So pretty cool, guys. All right, so let's go ahead and see if we could darken some of these areas, and I'm going to be standing up. Remember that since you were going pretty vertical, we can do this. If you don't do that, it'll be a horrible, horrible mishap. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to dust over everything. And this way I can use the eraser technique to lighten things up. Like I said, this is the first time I'm working with this ink. So we're sort of exploring this together, guys. I have to say it's a lot of fun so far. And I'm just using the reference here, so you guys could see and watch along as I go. See, we got some really hard edges here, hard pencil lines. Let's erase them as we go. Another thing is I'm going to see with this ink how am I going to solve those darker colors. That's something that's going to be interesting. A very light dusting, and as I go I'm going to be lightening up these pencil lines so I don't have to deal with them. So this might be the beginning of a beautiful friendship with FW Ink. Let's erase this a little bit, lighten that. Since this is ink, and I usually like when I'm doing sepia, I like to make things a little warmer, so I tend to add some orange, but for this experiment I'm not. This is the sepia straight out of the tube. I just picked this up at Dick Blick yesterday. There's this really cool, very talented young man at Dick Blick. He works there. He's a great artist. His name's Matt, and he said that this was a very good product. So I definitely listened to him, and he's right on the money. Okay, now her teeth are very interesting, meaning they're, definitely is something that we have to tread lightly. So what we're going to do is we're going to continue lightening these areas. We want to erase precisely, and that's where this mono eraser comes in. We can get some precise. And what's great is we could actually lighten it. On the vellum, it really looks like the ink erases really nice. So the vellum here, this is called Bristol Vellum, and there was another vellum that was even more smooth. Let me see which one that is. I think it's on the back here. Let's see. Yeah, there was a second Bristol. I'm going to pick it up. They're only $5 at AC Moore. So definitely something to think about if you have an AC Moore by you. This is by Strathmore, and it's 5.5 by 8. Kind of a bizarre size. It's 100-pound paper, 24 sheets. Since I use it like this, we're looking at maybe 12 pictures I can do on there. But what a pretty cool sketchbook that would make, huh? Do 12 airbrush paintings on it. So I hope everyone is having a good evening. Had a good weekend. Oh yeah, the teeth. So let's go ahead and definitely lighten that area. Now I'm really just going to put a very light indication of our teeth. I did draw it out carefully, but still, that's such a tough spot. That's why a lot of paintings you don't see people smiling, smirking, but not smiling, because when you have the teeth, it just adds a new element to it. It's interesting how the webcam actually has a hard time focusing. That's why I'm glad I have this camera, because it's in focus the whole time. Let's see if I can actually hyper the focus up a little bit here. So if anyone's interested, I'm using the Canon 10 to 18 lens on here. Let me make sure. Okay, it's on manual focus. There we go. So that way I can definitely make sure that it's in focus by blowing it up and then using the focus, because I put it on manual focus. I don't want it to continue to hunt focus, especially when I bring my hand there, move the hand, depth of field changes. So when you're doing live feed, you want to make sure you have your camera on manual focus. For those of you who might want to do live streams in the future. Okay. Let's do a quick test of our spray. Very light. It's almost like painting with coffee. What do you guys think of those coffee paintings? You know, where they actually paint with ground coffee? You know, like, what do you guys think? I have mixed emotions. I think it's cool. But I think there might be a lot of problems when it comes to archival, you know, whether or not it's going to last. Okay, see, the upper teeth is a little darker. It's more in shadow. So with this vellum, I could really make mistakes. And it's going to be so forgiving. So it looks like the paint just erases right off, everybody. At least at this very early stage. Now, how would this be for, let's say, an underpainting for an acrylic painting, or even an oil painting, or a pastel painting? So far, this looks like it would be perfect, guys. So far, there's no drawbacks. Now, I used the Higgins colored inks. Those were pretty good. I enjoyed them. But with the colored inks, they don't erase. Not as well as this one. So definitely I'm going to explore this brand. I'm going to get a couple more colors. I'm going to try mixing them. Let me see how it sounds. Just going to quickly see that I have sound here on this live stream. Now I have some really dark pencil lines here, so this is a good time to check and see what it does with those pencil lines. Like I said, experimentation is more important in how this comes out. So I'm also going to be on Twitch, and one of the things about Twitch is really good is that, you know, you log into Twitch, and of course it doesn't cost you anything, but if you like my channel and you subscribe to me, then I do get a small amount of money, so you can help support my channel that way. So that's something I would appreciate if you do get around to that. I think I get like $2 for every subscriber, not follower, but if you go ahead and subscribe, I get actually $2, which is pretty cool. I wish, yeah, YouTube is not too nice to smaller content creators such as myself. But I did hit 1,500 today, and then later that day someone unsubscribed. I don't know who it was, so I'm back at $14.99, which is no biggie. Let me see if I have any audio real quick. I'm going to take my aggressive eraser . See if I'm getting rid of these dark pencil lines underneath a very light layer of this acrylic ink, FW by De La Rowney. Look at that. That's promising. Now, don't expect this to happen if you go dark or you do several layers. But on your initial layers, you could really rest assured that you're going to get the ability to get rid of the dark pencil lines. Do I have a thin liner brush in here? Sometimes I leave them in here. In this studio, it might be in the other studio. If that is the case, I'll be right back. I don't know, I feel like going on Twitch because I'm not getting any action here on Facebook. I might as well just shut this down and go on Twitch, but we'll see. I'll give it a few more minutes if anyone doesn't come on. No point of going on here with no audience. It's a shame because if I was, in my early teens, in my 20s, if I seen something like this, man, I would catch it every moment. Because you artists out there, young artists, you just don't know what you have when an artist goes live like this. You have no idea how difficult that was. Even living in Manhattan, the art center of the world, how how difficult it was to actually see an artist of a certain level of experience work. It was almost unheard of. I remember the Art Students League would have David Leffel or Harvey Dinerstein give a demonstration, and you would have to have some inside information as to when they were doing it, get online, get in there first, and then you would have to pay like $5. So you'd have to travel in the city, and you'd have to get there early, otherwise you're behind some lady with big hair, and you couldn't see it. So, it's very important to, these live feeds, what a great opportunity it is, a great learning for those who are learning, of course. Just a rare opportunity, I would say. So I'm doing part 5 of the portrait in airbrush that I've been working on, and that is this painting right here. So let's see, where is it? Yeah, so let's see if I can get a good angle. Let's move this one over back a little bit. Okay, so this is the one I'm working on right now. I'm doing part 5, which is pretty neat. So you can see that, you can do like very quick studies and how they would help something like this. Because if you can't do this, you can't do this. So if you do a lot of these, when you do these, they're going to be better. If you do a lot of these, you may repeat your mistakes. But doing quick experimental pieces, that's when the mistakes, that's when you solve those mistakes that you normally would repeat. Yes, these inks come in a lot of different colors, Heath. I think like 6 or 7 colors. I thought that was pretty cool. And so that's good. And I like so far, but I don't know if the other colors are going to react to pencil as this one is. That's something we definitely have to explore. Before I go dark, I'm going to make sure that these pencil lines are gone, even though we're going to go much darker than the pencil lines. Let's see here. I'm going to use my freehand shield. We're going to start getting some of these really nice. We're going to go darker in the hair. Before I do that, there we go. Beautiful dark hard edge there. I think, Heath, maybe about 6 or 7 colors, but that's only the set I had seen. I'm sure there are more, but I can definitely see why this is a popular brand. There we go. Making sure I don't lose that beautiful edge. And I'm going to go darker. Now I'm going darker with that lighter mixture, but when I go with the darker mixture, it's going to look great. You want to make sure you dry off any ink that might be on your freehand shield. You don't want to reposition that ink. Okay, so we have a nice hard edge, but I was a little overzealous. So let's take our eraser. Ooh, see, when I went thick, it has when I went nice and dark, it has more of a feeling of acrylic, of plastic. So keep it light. But as it's light, we have a lot more wiggle room. Meaning light application. I pulled down a little heavier with the airbrush, pulled back a little more, so it was sort of a stronger application. Now, this is a thick paper. I don't see any warping yet. Now once again, this is a thick vellum. Doesn't mean that we can go ahead and oversaturate the surface. We still want to be careful with that. Let's go ahead and get some hard edges right here where her arm meets her breast. Hey Steve, how are you? Mr. Garza, thanks for checking me out on YouTube. Appreciate that. And even though this is black, which is her bra, we want to make sure that we build it up slowly. And what we're going to do is we're going to do more erasing, so we get rid of as many pencil lines as possible while it's still in the early light stage. You know what? Exactly. That's how I started, Heath. Ink is just, it doesn't tip dry. You have, you know, it just seems to, it seems like the airbrush is made for acrylic, I mean, for inks of all kinds. And water-based paint literally feels like, you know, we're bending the paint to serve our purposes. And you definitely could tell a difference. There's no secret why automotive people use the urethanes. I've used urethanes with Jonathan Pantaleone, and it doesn't clog. It feels more like ink than it does paint. I mean, commercially, I think that's the paint that the art supply companies actually, the consumer, want you to go with, water-based paint, but it's not the best for airbrush. But I like using, I mean, I like the challenge, so I do like using the acrylic line of golden with the airbrush. It's fun. Let's see if I can use this chisel line here. No. So it's so important to try and retain or keep the likeness that you had achieved in the drawing stage. So that should something you should always be vigilant over. And it's great because there is wiggle room here. Now all these areas look pretty dark already, but they're really super light. They're a lot lighter because everything's white around it. So beautiful how it's really just lifting up that pencil lines. Now when you're painting early, the painting's going to have a weird look like this. This is a weird looking stage, but that's because we're going very light and we're continuing little by little to darken it. There's no rush. It doesn't have to look perfect in the early stage. What's more important is that you are painting like a chess player. Okay, so let's make sure that we get some really nice hot edges. Test this here. See that? Test here, not there. So that's why I do these like impromptu live feeds, because I learned how to create better live feeds by not having to have you guys deal with all the technical issues that I see a lot of live streamers have. So far, I'm really pleasantly surprised. I mean, this is pretty darn wild. Really is. Of what's possible with this ink here. So, hats off to Daily Round, the FW Ink Sepia, for the product they have. I think this would make a great underpainting for a pastel. Better than a black and white? Not necessarily, but maybe if we warm this up with a little bit of Venetian red or something like that, we would make an underpainting that would have the red, give a feeling of flesh, give a luminosity. So I'm seeing a lot of possibilities. Okay. See if I can make this just a little bit darker. See how that looks. What I did is I just, raised the shutter speed up a little bit. And I'm going to work on this hard edge here. Let's see what's happening on YouTube real quick. Okay, so very cool. So I'm really happy with the two streams we have going so far, and maybe I'm gonna bring in go ahead and bring in Twitch, see if I can do 3 streams at once. So what I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to go get my paintbrush, and we're gonna start some paintbrush techniques in the eyes, and see if we could get some clarity. That definitely I wouldn't want to do with the airbrush because I have more control with the paintbrush. So be right back, guys. Don't go anywhere. Okay, I'm back. Got a couple of good brushes here. Where are you? Right there. And we're going to go ahead and do some paint brushes. Yeah, well, interesting, Heath. Yes, it can be mixed only on top, but not together. You want to use them in conjunction with one another, like, ink, and then on top of the ink, you do acrylic, but I don't believe you can mix it. I definitely don't recommend it because the bindings are different. So even if they do mix, they're going to separate over time. And that's something that would make for a very bad experiment. So I'm going to definitely have to go darker. I mean, get a more strong mixture than the 3-to-2, 3 full eyedroppers to 2 drops of ink, because this is much too light, but it's good to establish with the ink so I can completely get rid of the pencil line underneath. So 1,500 subscribers. That's what I reached today before that one person unsubscribed, but that's okay. I'm going to surpass that easy. But they were saying, like, I was reading an article how rare it is for somebody to get 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. That before that, most people quit. So that was promising. I mean, I have been at this since January of 2017, like very consistently. And since then, I think I did something like, I don't know, like 70 something videos. So yeah, it has been rough sometimes. Sometimes you're wondering if anyone is paying attention, and it is expensive. You know, just the setup for my, you wouldn't believe, just the setup to do this live stream with these cameras. You know, and also the amount of time it is to learn how to do something that is so out of the ordinary. So you have to find the videos, and then you have to do a lot of research to actually get these things going. And then once you do the research, then you just got to have all the headache of just, you know, trial and error. But I love it, and I love the people I get to meet, and I love all the aspects of this. And it will pay off. I don't know how, but it will. Because when you give, you get in return. And I'm a believer of that. Exactly, Heath. So definitely that would be a bad mistake. But you know what? It's okay to just take some test paper and say, what would happen if that happens? You might find something out. So Heath, are you in the UK, sir? I don't know why I keep thinking you're in the UK. I think you're, I'm not sure. So, you know, working with this is a lot like working with watercolor. Once I set this up, then I'm going to be in good shape to actually go a little bit darker. So I think, what would be the next one? Would it be, so I was going with 2 drops of the ink with 3 full eyedroppers of water. So let me see, right over here, this is my chart that I made years ago on the dilutions of the Higgins India ink. And let's see, my back scratcher. So this is where we were. 3 full eyedroppers, 2 drops of ink. So we're right here. So maybe we can go with 3 full eyedroppers of water with 4 drops of ink. That would give us this nice mid-tone. And then we can go dark. Or we can go here, which is 3 full eyedroppers of water and then 3 drops of ink, which is a nice progression. So maybe we'll do that. Right here is just too light. So anyway, that's cool. So let's continue with the brush techniques here. Definitely. Heath, man, great to see you, man. Always, I appreciate your your support, and I'm encouraged whenever you log in and comment on my live streams. I hope you have a great day. Send me any IMs or anything if you have any questions. Always good to see you. I hope you have a great day tomorrow, Heath. And I will send you those links, definitely. Those links to the underpainting videos that I do have. And I have your email address, sir. Oh, Canada, cool. Okay. Love Canada. Gotta go soon. So with the paintbrush, I can do some really, really tight lines here. And since we're so light, you're not going to get tight lines when you're working light. Getting a little warm in here, but let's see. So pretty cool. Looks like YouTube is actually beating out Facebook today. I do have a pretty good following, and it's growing on YouTube, which I'm very encouraged. And a lot of my YouTube people are international, which is very interesting. Okay, so I do have some water over here, and I'm going to keep some water over here so I can wash these brushes. These are acrylic, so you definitely don't want the acrylic to dry on your brushes. So you want to make sure that you have a very clean brush so it tapers correctly. You can get fine points. So don't be careless with that. I have in the past, and of course I have a lot of really bad paintbrushes to thank myself for. Erase as you go. You don't get points for having it done quick. I'm not impressed. I don't care how fast you do it. Wow, good for you. I don't care about artists who, who do these speed paintings and, look what I can do. You know what? So what? I just care about the finished product and whether or not you can inspire other people, artists and non-artists alike. That's far more impressive than the look at me speed paintings. Ooh, very cool, very exciting. Hey, so let's see if I can go ahead and I'm gonna actually see if I could go on Twitch as well, just because I can. How cool is that, guys? So I am on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube at the same time. So working hard so I can be more of someone as an innovator in live streaming, especially in the instructional art realm, because it helps the people out there. It helps you guys. I can reach more people, help more people. So if you get the opportunity, I'm Painted Glyphs on Twitch, which is great. And so if you get a chance, if you haven't already have a user ID, go ahead and log in. It's totally free. And check it out. I think it's the hottest new social media right now. Definitely is. They're definitely the best to content creators. They're a lot better to content creators than Facebook is, a lot better than content creators than YouTube is. Started out as a gaming site, and then they started doing other things such as how-tos and live streaming, just their day and everything. And really, I think it's the one site that's going to give YouTube and Facebook a run for their money. I'm going to very quickly go on to Twitch. Bear with me. Hey guys. So what I'm going to do is I have my tablet over here, and I'm just going to go to Twitch. Okay, almost there. Oh, cool, there we are. How about that? So we are live. Great. Okay, so I am on Twitch, so I can see if anyone actually jumps on and asks any questions. So excuse the hair, a little messy today. It's the end of the day. It's been humid here in Jersey, so it's not good for hair. So let's go back here. All right, so let's go ahead and erase more. And then after we erase more, we can go ahead and create a darker mixture. Start painting a little darker. And for me to go ahead with this really light mixture and start going darker is not good, because what I'm going to be doing is beating up the surface. And I talk a lot about economy of surface with my drawing tutorials I do every Wednesday night at 9 o'clock Eastern, and that's on Facebook and YouTube. And I always talk about how you have to really be economical with your surface, that you don't want to overload it in any medium that you're doing, especially something like this, which is a wet medium, and too much wet can definitely damage your surface. It's just an interesting experiment altogether, guys. It really is. Now there are some pencil lines showing here. No problem, we're going very dark here, so any pencil line is going to be obliterated anyway. But let's take our paintbrush and let's see if we could reiterate those eyes. Look at that. So like I said, if you guys can, you will help me out so much if you can go on twitch.com, and my username is Painted Glyphs. So if you haven't already logged in, what you could do is you can just create an ID. It's easy, it's free. And then once you do, you can search for me, Painted Glyphs, and just go ahead and subscribe. And if you subscribe, it's really cool. You help out my channel. Plus I get like $2. So that's a great way to, no cost to you, and you could definitely help my channel out. So I could not only continue to give great content, but maybe even more content more frequently. Okay, so now it gets a little interesting. So what we're going to do, wear pants that you're not too crazy over, so this way you can just dry your brush on them or something like that. You know, paint pants. Okay, so we have this mixture, and do me a favor, I'm only doing it for teaching purposes. Never put your paint over your painting. That would be bad. Hey, Emmanuel, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Emmanuel, are you on Facebook or YouTube? And so you don't ever want to put your paint over your painting or your ink, but I'm just doing it for teaching purposes. So what we're going to do is we're going to go with 3 full eyedroppers of water with 3 drops of ink. And let's see what that does. Okay. So let's move this out of the way. Avert disaster. That's what I always. Facebook, thank you so much. So earlier I had a lot of YouTube people, so that was cool. Now I got a couple of Facebook people. I'm also on Twitch. So, hey, Emmanuel, have you streamed on Twitch yet? It's good to see you, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, you'll love it. You can stream on there. and I think you'll get a lot of followers. So definitely do that. You'll love it. And when you do get on, thank you. I love watching your art. You really are very talented, Emmanuel. You're very encouraging and you're inspiration to a lot of people. So keep up your great artwork. It's funny, my mom loves your work. She remarked on some of your paintings. She follows you on Facebook. So what I did was I have 6 drops of ink, and then 6 of the full eyedroppers, and then I'm going to do 6 of the Funkin' Wagnall, which is Todd. Good to see you, man. Thanks so much for stopping by. This is the FW De La Rowney, and it's sepia. It's the first time I'm using it. So we're going to do 3 and 3 because before we did 3 and 2, 3 full eyedroppers and 2 drops of ink. Now we're doing 3 full eyedroppers and 3 drops of ink. So we're going to do 6 and 6. This stuff's pretty potent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is going to be a little bit darker. It should. We're going to do some test sprays, of course. But let's see. Can we see a difference between the two? Not really. A little bit, right? You see how the residue on this side is darker than this side. So we might have to add another drop if it's not much of a difference. So we're going to go back to our test paper. Not this, of course, but our test paper was right here. So we're going to put that in our HP-SBS right here. One of the things is I hate my airbrush to get dirty, even on the outside. I see a lot of airbrush artists and their airbrush is just funky, just caked on paint and everything like that. And I couldn't work that way. I have to have everything clean. I think, like, let's say, you know, like in the Marines when they have guns, I mean, they keep their guns clean because it helps. I think we can go a little bit darker, guys. Look how light that is. Too light, not exactly a big change. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull this out. We're going to dump this back in. I'm going to put another, what do you think? Another drop or 2 drops, guys? What would you do? You want to go for it and go with 2 drops? Or maybe we should just err on the side of caution and do 1 drop and see how that works. We'll go with 1 drop. Mix that up. So Todd and Emmanuel, I'm working on a Bristol Vellum, which is pretty cool. Seems to really work well with the airbrush. It doesn't warp like the regular paper that I was working on earlier last week. Okay, so we have the darker color in there. Let's take a look. Okay, see, this is the difference. See, there's a difference now. So basically, the mixture that we mix to get the next value is 3 full eyedroppers of water and 4 drops of ink. This one right here. And I don't think I'm going to be working too long with this because we're going to have to go darker pretty quick. But it's nice to build up. Let me just park my airbrush and get to the actual picture we're working on. Emmy Rossum from the show Shameless. Okay, so I'm going to get all the water and the ink. I'm going to move them far away from my hands and my painting. And this way I will avert disaster. If you guys saw my video last week that I was working on, Natalie Wood I'm working on. Yeah, I spilled water all over her, all over the drawing. It was quite frightening. But as long as I didn't get emotional and just waited it out and it dried nicely and didn't warp, it was pretty cool. So now I'm just going to go ahead and try and work on some of these hard edges here. So have any of you guys ever, Sheila, how are you? Good to see you. How's your mom feeling? I've been thinking about her. Is she home? Let's see. Okay. So I always dry off after I spray. I dry off the freehand shield. Let's see if we can get some nice hard edges here. Beautiful. It's going to go a long way to create a sense of sophistication to the work. Oh, isn't that great? I'm so happy. Tell your mom I'm so happy she's home. And then since we do have this dark, we can go ahead and really begin the process of trying to find the right value, which takes time. It takes time because we really build up slowly. Let's lower the air pressure a little bit. Now, the HP SBS is an Eclipse, and it's really great. I mean, it has a 0.30 needle and head assembly, but the good thing is that it has a the piston goes, the trigger goes right in to the piston, and then it has a cone, so it's very effective. Cass Fuller, one of the best airbrushes out there, told me about this when I was only getting microns. So this one doesn't have a what is called a MAC valve. So I have this external MAC valve, which is something that you can get on Amazon.com. It's made by Iwata, and look what it does. So you see I have the air, and I could lower the air pressure and raise the air pressure, which is cool. So micro adjusting. So I would lower the air pressure because I have ink, which is very watery, and then I'm going close. So those two variables means if I don't lower the air pressure, I'll get what is called spidering. And you can probably see it a little bit. Okay, so let's go back. Now the mixture is still too light, but stand up for this. Pneumonia is no joke. That is so true. That is definitely true. Oh wow, so your MAC valve leaks. Yeah, that happened to me. I know you could probably get some plumber's tape, and that should help. Now, if it's inside the valve itself, then unfortunately, well, what you can do if it's inside a year, I think Iwata should actually replace it. I'm just going to put some tone in her eyes. Yes, pneumonia is scary. Oh, wow, yeah. So, definitely, yeah, you definitely want to maybe even contact Iwata. Maybe they'll send you a new one. As you can see, what I can do is I could slowly build up the darks, like in her hair, and then I'm going to go back here on her eyelashes. Let's make this a little more vertical. Take this off of Emmy's face here. It's nice to slowly build up the darks. Just like pencil drawing, you don't get to your blacks right away. And I know I say it all the time. Yes, Dave at Coast. I heard he's very good with products like that. I haven't had firsthand, but I heard a lot of good stories. So I'm also on Twitch, which is really cool. And I don't know if you guys are on Twitch yet, but I really enjoy it. So if you ever get a chance, guys, on Twitch, what you can do, it's free to join, and you just sign up. And then when you do sign up, there's a lot of different content. It's originally for gaming, but now there's a lot of artists like myself who actually stream on there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a very quick dusting over everything. Now this is just taking the experimentation a little further. I'm going to see, after I dust over everything, how this erases when we're getting more advanced in our layers. And those of you who are just joining us, this is FW Ink by De La Rowney Sepia on Bristol Vellum. So very interesting. It's an experiment. I just wanted to experiment and have you guys a part of it and see exactly what's possible by using materials that normally people don't use. It's erasing really beautifully, guys. And I just love how we're able to get some nice buildup of value and still using some erasing techniques. And then the secret weapon, which I come in the end, white pastel, which is going to be fantastic. Look how it's erasing. It's really nice, guys. It really is. I'm going to come in with some really dark darks. Maybe even add a little bit of black to this ink mixture to get a really nice darks. Whoop. Wow, you can really make some really good eraser lines to even be sort of guide points for adding on tone in the future, later in the painting. And of course I'm going to come back with some paintbrush techniques as well. Really a lot of fun so far. Like I said, in the early stages, it's sort of like a weird look. Don't get emotional about it. Just stick with the plan. Develop your chess pieces and then attack. Okay, so we have this really nice dark here. Let's take our paintbrush and let's see if we can reiterate some of our darks. So it looks like I've been streaming close to 2 hours. See, a little bit darker, that extra drop of ink. You can build even darker. We got plenty of time to get dark. But we all know what a pain in the neck it is to lighten things up. Now this is a tough pose for me to pick, but I really liked it. So sometimes you got to go outside your comfort zone. So I went outside my comfort zone twice. Never used this ink before. I never know how it's going to work with the pencil lines. So this is a double whammy as far as coming out of my comfort zone. But I definitely wanted to share with everyone that it's important to go outside your comfort zone. That's when you innovate and do things that other people go, whoa, I didn't know that was possible. Because you're the first one who was crazy enough to try it. Okay. Make sure you rinse out your brush once you're done. Okay, so let's see. So I'm going to wait for that to dry just a little bit. And there's a pencil line I want to get rid of. Right here. And it just erased it so nicely. Okay. Some pencil lines here we can erase. And you know what, even in this late stage where we went pretty dark, we still have a lot of wiggle room to do a lot of erasing, which is really wild. Oh, okay. Alright, so let's take our airbrush and we're just going to darken some areas here. Just bring everything together so we can move down here, and so far, so good. See, we're going to test it out here, not on there. I'm going to make sure we have a nice dry needle, but not much tip dry, especially with this ink. Very happy with it. Let me stand. I'm going to get the freehand shield to get that really dark there, the dark hard edge. Okay, so look, we can do some darks on this side of the face here. Sort of model the three-dimensional qualities of her cheeks, her forehead. Remember, far away, lighter. Closer, darker. See how you can manipulate tone just with that. Beautiful. Alright, so let's get our freehand shield. Let's get this right there. See how nice? I'm wiping that off on my pants. Freehand shield on the arm, go in the other direction. See that? You get that turn. Same thing here. Get that nice turn. Pay attention to her anatomy. Very important. When I go darker, you're going to see things pretty much change, which is good. More hard edges. Look at that. That's what I'm talking about. So, do I recommend getting FW ink? Yes. Big time. Is FW Ink giving me any money? No. Should they? Yes. Because what's a better way to endorse a product than to use their product in a real world setting? So I could honestly say to my friends out there on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, this is definitely a paint for you to try. Okay, gonna have to go darker here, maybe use a freehand shield, but there's a nice dark along this part of her nose, which that's going to be very important to achieve. I always want to get a likeness, and when I don't get a likeness, it is a bummer. Especially if I'm painting someone that's recognizable, like Emmy here. It doesn't always happen. Hey, Babe Ruth didn't hit a home run every time up. But I'm not saying I didn't get a likeness with her because it's still early. Oh, that's nice. Nice hard edge. Nice when that works out, huh? Beautiful hard edge right there. Let's darken this up here. This value. Now with India ink, it's a lot easier because with India ink, you get a nice, really rich black. When you almost have like maybe a 1-to-1, you know, 1 full eyedropper of water to 1 drop of ink, or maybe 1 to 3, like maybe 1 eyedropper, full eyedropper of water to maybe 3 droppers to ink. Let me see what we have here. See, this is almost black, and that's 3 full eyedroppers of water and 8 drops of ink, okay? So I stand corrected. So if I did 3 full eyedroppers of water and maybe 10 drops of ink, I get almost a black. So, but I would definitely go with this first if I'm doing an underpainting or just a straight India ink painting. Okay, I want to get that nice hard edge over here. Okay, I think I'm getting it. Okay, so pretty happy with that. Got some erasing to do over here. Oy. Just going to quickly check Twitch. Not much going on there right now. It's all good. Okay. On Twitch, I was like very excited. I'm like, ooh, I got one person looking, till I realized that I was the one person. Yes, pretty funny. Erase as you go. I'm going to come back with some paintbrush techniques as soon as I darken the ink mixture a little bit. think I could definitely make the upper lip thicker. Let's take a look here. I do have a pencil that is actually not a 0.5 like this one, but a 0.3. That'll give us a much finer line. Take these glasses off. It's going to give us a clue as to how much thicker I need to go, and also the shape. Now this is all toned, so the lips are very close to the value of, actually they sort of blend into the value of, you know, her upper lip there. And I'm going to dust over this as well to calm down some of these lights. All right, so, okay, over here I'm sort of neglecting her belly. Let's not neglect her belly. So like I said, I do these impromptu live streams. I have my show every Wednesday at 9 o'clock Eastern time, 9 p.m. And that's usually drawing the portrait like the old masters. But I do several during the week. Allows me to work out the bugs, to do the best live streams out there. Some of the best live streams out there. Exciting. I'm going to put 2 more eyedroppers of ink in here. Okay, so there we go. Let's shake this up. One, two. Never do this on top of your painting. I'm just doing this to show you guys. So I'm going to take my airbrush. I'm going to dump out the existing color, spray out the existing color, and then I'm going to put in this darker mixture. Airbrushing is fun. But it's just like drawing, no difference. If you draw, you'll become a better at airbrush. I always say that. Where is that test picture? Test paper. Where is it? Now this paper doesn't bend. It's very thick. So let's see if I can find it. There we go. Okay. So you see how dark it got before. Now I have the darker mixture. Let's see how this looks. Oh, you can see already. Look at that. Nice. Definitely darker. So that was 3 full eyedroppers of water and 6 drops of ink. That would probably be right about here. Let's take a look at this. Right. I would say yeah, right about here. Not here, but here. So we're getting there, right? Little by little. And notice the beautiful control I get, that you can get with your Eclipse HP-SBS. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, park my airbrush. I can't do 2 things at once, and you're better off not doing 2 things at once when it comes to precision airbrushing. That's for sure. Okay, so let's stand. Let me put my glasses on. Let's go darker. Even going darker, you know, we have a long way to go as far as dark. What we're building. We already have the hard edge established before, so we can use that hard edge to our advantage when we go darker. And then if we go over it, we get this nice soft edge right next to it. See, the hard work of getting that hard edge earlier really makes a difference later in the game. We have a nice hard edge here. We're going to go ahead and do some paintbrush techniques later down the line. We're building up her bra there. Or blouse, I think it's a bra. Belly. Okay, let's get this hard edge right over here. First thing I'm going to do is erase some of that, because that's a really dark pencil line. Oh. Lighten up this line here. Okay. So first thing is first. Going to crawl the airbrush around so we hit the areas we need to, because we're not going to find that edge perfectly. So you take care of different parts, not just, you're not going to find that perfect edge, so you do a little over here, a little over here, that sort of thing. Okay, so now we have a nice dark. What we can do is do a little more erasing and then come back with the paintbrush. Let's see if I can very lightly hit that upper lip. Let's gain our aim here. A quick dusting over everything here. Just make everything darker. Okay. So now for the paintbrush again. We park our airbrush. I'm going to stop a little bit because it's been like 2 hours now and closing in on 2 hours and a half. So that's a long time to be working straight through. But I definitely wanted to work on this experiment with you guys. And the experiment definitely is a success. Alright, so now let's go ahead and now we can get really dark. Not really dark, but maybe like a mid-tone. But you can see how long it took us to build up to this when working in transparency. I may even try and see what an electric eraser does, but not on this painting. Try it on just a spare piece of paper. See how far you can go before the paper gives out. But don't do it on something that you're working on. I mean, this is a test painting, yes, but it's still a painting. It's not a doodle. So I ever think that the celebrities will ever see the work I do of them when I do these like little test paintings? Or no, I don't think so. I mean, they got more important things to look at. Probably got a lot of fans making artwork for them. I mean, I'm a fan of them. I appreciate their work. But I guess I'm not like a fan, like a fanatic. So I understand they got their own personal lives. Last thing they want to do is contact a stranger and say, oh, I really like that drawing of you, or whatever. That rarely happens. I understand. There we go. Emmy's coming out a little bit. I think I'm a little overzealous here. There we go. Calm that down a little bit. Calm down, Tim, with the darks. We have a long way to go with the darks, but you can just see how little by little she's evolving. Those of you who think that, oh, you should just work straight in Airbrush, forget. Airbrush is a renegade medium to begin with. So, throw your argument out. You definitely anything goes when it goes to Airbrush. See how it's looking online. Okay, so we definitely could work on this area here, how the darks sort of come down here. So we definitely can come a lot darker here. I'm just going to go ahead and hit that a little bit. For me, I just want to rework my drawing. I love drawing. I think I'm best with drawing. So I want that to be the main part of my painting. Angra said that a good painting is 80%, 85% drawing. So I'm editing a video, and I should be editing the video and doing the live stream right now, but it's a lot of fun. I'm painting anyway, so I might as well just go live. So once I go dark here, you see her mouth doesn't look so dark. So I'm streaming on YouTube, streaming on Twitch, streaming on Facebook all at the same time. And my computer is saying, high CPU usage. Really? Yes, I know. But I have a pretty good PC. Cost me about $900 last summer. And I saved up a long time for that. I'm just going to quickly outline here. Why not? Like I said, this is an experimentation. So why not experiment? Sort of give us something to shoot for as far as how dark, how light we actually are. You don't realize how light we are because everything around it is so light that we think this is dark enough, but we're not even close to dark enough as far as our dark values are concerned. So I'm going to reiterate my drawing using this ink mixture. So I know that my YouTube channel is going to take off because I'm giving quality, and I have my subscribers. You guys are number one as far as why I do these videos. So I know that will pay off, and I know it might take time, but the public will respond. Has to. Okay, so we've got a wet brush. Let's go ahead, rinse that, get all that ink, acrylic ink off of there. Do it a second time. You do want to retain that really nice point, don't you guys? So whatever you do, clean your brushes. Clean your brushes promptly. Okay, so what are we going to do? Erasing. Okay, so and when we erase, we can definitely get more accurate with the inner part of her face, relationships of light and dark. See that? Emmy, I know you're coming to fruition this slowly, but we're getting there. Okay, so her eyebrows come right about here. Okay. Just want to make sure where I have been overzealous with tone that I erase. And the upper part above her lip here, we can definitely shape her lips a little more. Emmy, you're coming out a little bit more. I'm very happy. Hey, Xenobiart, how are you? Xenobia Art, is that how I say it? Now you hear me? Because I didn't see you before. I'm so sorry about that. I have like 3 chats going on. So I do see you there on Twitch. I'm glad to hear. How, Xenobia Art, is that how I say it? Because I have you down here on my tablet. Oh, cool. Very cool. Zenobia Art. Oh, great. Very nice. And you're an artist as well? So I have a little bit delay with the chat, so just give it a few moments. Okay, sure, definitely. Let me do that for you. It'd be my pleasure. Okay, so this is what I started. So the whole video was doing a test on the Daler-Rowney FW Sepia ink. And what I'm doing is I am doing this picture of Emmy Rossum, and it is did a pencil drawing, and it's on this Bristol Vellum, which is by Strathmore. The vellum is a really thick paper, and it's very smooth, and I think it's perfect for airbrush. So this is my experiment using this ink and that. So okay, so let's go to my airbrush. Let's see. Now what's really cool is that I have different cameras here. Let's see. We can go with this camera. See, here's my airbrush. It is the HP-SBS by Iwata. The double action airbrush, which is really cool. And oh, you mean the equipment I use for live stream? Oh, okay, I have no problem doing that. Let's go ahead and do this real quick for you. All right, let's go to this camera. Okay, so I have two studio lights, and then right here I have my DSLR, and I have that hooked up to a cam link to my laptop, and that is a i7 processor, Windows based, and then for the microphone I have my Blue Yeti, and that's a USB microphone. So, and then that's it. You know, these two studio lights are really powerful and they work really well. I don't have any lights behind me. This is my dry erase board where I also do videos on YouTube, and I actually plan them out with my dry erase board. And then I have this camera right here. This is a webcam hooked up to the Joby, and that is this camera angle. See, we have this camera angle right here. And then I have the camera, which is the camera from the laptop. So I use that. So 1, 2, 3, 4 cameras I usually use. Yes. Tripod, just this one right here. Oh, yes. Okay, I have 2 tripods. So, let's see. Okay, this tripod is, what brand is this? It's a good one. Let's see if I can get the brand for you. I paid like $150 for it. What brand is it? Let me see if I can. I don't know the brand, but it's really good, and it's one of those tripods that has this long neck that comes out, so you can do more vertical stuff, which is really cool. So I hope that helps. And this is something that I purchased over time. So anyway, hope that helps. Thank you. I appreciate that, Zenobia Art. So are you, do you live stream yourself? I got to fix the color on this one. I'm going to do that later. See how the color's all blue and gray. But, and these are the main ones I use. I like using this camera right here. You get that nice, nice different angle. And then I really love this angle right here, which is definitely, this right here is my DSLR, which really works and really does some great stuff. So I definitely like that. Oh, you're very welcome, Zenobia. My pleasure. Now, let me see if I really want to get the name of that tripod for you. Oh, okay, cool. I found it. So this is the case. So the tripod is a Vanguard Alta Series 7. Really great because the tripod actually, like you said, comes over. So I'm able to do overhead shots, which, yeah, definitely. So that's the tripod. So yeah, definitely, and you can get them on, hey, what's up, Christian? How you doing? Good to see you. I didn't catch you. I'm just catching you now.